It's 3 in the morning. The whole house is quiet, deeply quiet. And you're in that light, fragile sleep that only new parents really know. You know, the one where you hear absolutely everything. And then it happens. A sound just shatters the silence. It's a scream from your baby's room that rips you out of bed, and your heart is instantly hammering in your chest. But here's the thing. This isn't the cry you know. It's not the "I'm hungry" cry, or the "my diaper's wet" fuss, or even the "I just want to be held" whimper. You know those cries. You know them like the back of your hand. No, this one is different. This one is raw. It's a sound that feels like it comes from somewhere ancient, and it hits you right in your soul. It sounds like pure, absolute terror.
So you fly into the room, you're bracing for the worst, and what you find is just confusing. They might be rigid, maybe their back is arched, their eyes are wide open, but they're not seeing anything, they're just staring into space. They seem a million miles away. You pick them up, you say their name, you whisper and rock, but nothing gets through. It's like they're trapped inside a bubble and you can't get in. And then, just as fast as it started, it stops. Their whole body just goes soft in your arms, their breathing gets all deep and even, and they're back to sleep. Just like that. Perfectly peaceful. And you're the one left standing there in the dark with all this adrenaline pumping through you, just thinking, what just happened? How is that even possible? How can anyone go from that level of terror to total peace in a heartbeat?
You know, if that scene sounds at all familiar to you, I just want to start by saying you are so not alone. And your baby is okay. This whole experience, as jarring and as scary as it is one of the most common things parents go through. It feels so wrong because it looks like you're witnessing real suffering, and you feel completely powerless to stop it. But what you're seeing isn't quite what's actually going on. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain on this mystery. We're going to go inside your baby's brain to really understand what's happening during these wild middle-of-the-night episodes.
Okay, so let's get right into it. The single most important thing to wrap your head around is this. Your baby's brain is not just a mini version of your brain. It's a completely different piece of equipment, and it's running on totally different software. We tend to think it's just a smaller copy of our own, but that's just not how it works. For a baby, sleep isn't just about rest. It's actually the most intense and important work they will ever do. Their brain at night is like a 24/7 construction site, buzzing with activity, working around the clock to build the incredible person they're going to become.
And all of this intense construction work happens during a very specific kind of sleep. You probably know it as REM sleep, right? That's the rapid eye movement stage where we as adults have our most vivid dreams. Well, in babies, sleep experts have a better name for it: active sleep. And that name is perfect because their brain isn't resting at all. During active sleep, their brain is a whirlwind. It's making connections, it's sorting through information, it's literally building itself from the ground up. Seriously, it's just as active and sometimes even more active than when they're wide awake.
So how much time are we talking about here? How much time do they spend in this supercharged construction mode? Well, for a newborn, it's a jaw-dropping 50% or even more of their total sleep time. 50%! Now, think about that compared to an adult. For us, REM sleep is only about 20, maybe 25% of our night. This isn't some kind of glitch in the system. It's absolutely essential. This is the sacred time when their brain is processing everything it took in during the day, every sight, every sound, every cuddle, and filing it all away to build the superhighways of their mind.
And what I love about this chart is how it just lays it all out so clearly. Just look at that huge peak of REM sleep right at the beginning of life. That massive block of time, that's it. That is the most intense, foundational brain-building period they will ever have in their entire lives. And then as they get older, you can see how that proportion of REM sleep gets smaller and smaller as the main structures get built and the wiring gets locked in. It eventually settles into that stable adult pattern. It just goes to show you what a unique and incredibly special window of time this really is.
This brings us to the really big difference between your brain and your baby's. You see, in a grown-up brain, we have this highly developed prefrontal cortex. Think of it like a control room, or even better, like the thick rubber insulation around a really powerful electrical cable. When your brain gets super active in REM sleep, that insulation keeps all the powerful signals contained. Yeah, you might twitch a little, your eyes might move, but you don't usually start thrashing around. In a baby, that regulatory layer, that insulation, is still being built. It's just not finished yet.
And this is the real heart of the matter. That terrifying scream you hear in the middle of the night, it's a phenomenon we can call spillover. It's literally the raw, unfiltered sound of their brain doing intense neurological work.
The emotional centers of the brain are firing on all cylinders, processing all the feelings and experiences from the day, but without that mature insulating layer to hold it all in, that intense energy just spills over. It spills out into their body, making their limbs go stiff, making their mouth open, and producing a scream that sounds to our ears like terror. But, and this is so important, it is not coming from a scary thought. It's not a nightmare as we know it. It is the sound of a brain hard at work.
Okay, this is where we need to get really clear, because as adults, our brains immediately jump to one conclusion: bad dream. But for many babies and toddlers, what's happening is a totally different thing. It's a non-emotional event called a sleep terror, or Pavor Nocturnus if you want to get scientific. And honestly, understanding the difference between a nightmare and a sleep terror is the absolute key. It's what will give you peace of mind and help you know exactly what to do.
So let's just walk through this, because the differences are huge. So on one side, you've got a classic nightmare. That happens in REM sleep, usually later in the night, maybe in the early morning. And here's the key. The child actually wakes up. They're conscious, they know where they are, and they can often tell you about the scary dream. And because they're awake, you can comfort them. Now look at a sleep terror. It's basically the polar opposite. It happens in the deepest possible stage of non-REM sleep, usually just a few hours after they've gone down for the night. And during the event, the child is completely, profoundly asleep. Their eyes can be wide open, but trust me, nobody's home. They won't remember a single thing about it the next day. And this is the part that's so hard for us as parents. They are biologically unreachable. They cannot be comforted while it's happening.
And I really need you to hear this next part, because it might be the most comforting thing you learn today. When you're holding your baby during one of these episodes, and they're staring right through you, and they don't seem to hear your voice or feel your touch, it's not because things are so bad that you can't help them. It's because they are so deeply asleep that the parts of their brain that would normally register your presence are literally switched off. They're offline. You are not failing to comfort them. It's like trying to send an email to a computer that's powered down. The message isn't being rejected, it just physically cannot be received. Okay, let's switch gears for a minute and talk about another thing that drives parents crazy. It's that baby who is so clearly exhausted. You know, they're rubbing their eyes, they're yawning, but they are fighting sleep like their life depends on it. It makes no sense to us, right? But there is a very real, very clear biological reason for it, and it all comes back to that same developing nervous system. It's what we call being tired and wired. See, in an adult, when we get exhausted, we usually just give up and go to sleep. But in a baby, getting too tired can trigger the exact opposite reaction. Overtiredness isn't just being very tired. It's a physiological state. It's when their little nervous system gets the signals of extreme fatigue and misinterprets them as a threat. The primal, ancient part of the brain basically says, red alert, systems are failing. This is not a safe time to power down. Stay awake.
And that false alarm kicks off this terrible cycle. The fatigue builds up, the body screams threat, and so it does what it's designed to do in an emergency. It releases the stress hormone cortisol. And what does cortisol do? It makes you alert. It makes you ready to fight or run away. It's basically the body's own shot of caffeine. It's a powerful stimulant. So the more tired your baby gets, the more cortisol gets pumped into their system, which physically makes it harder for them to relax and fall asleep. They are now biologically wired to fight the one thing they need more than anything else.
So knowing all this, knowing about the brain construction site and the spillover and these crazy cortisol loops, what is your job in all this? This is where we need to make a really big mental shift. Your job is not to fix a problem. It's not to stop a behavior. Your role is something so much more profound. Your role is to be the calm, steady, external regulator for a nervous system that just can't regulate itself yet.
There's this beautiful concept called co-regulation, and it's one of the most incredible parts of being a parent. Your baby's nervous system is hardwired to sync up with yours. Your calm isn't just a mood, it's a real physical, biological signal of safety that their body can actually read. They feel it in your steady heart rate, in your slow breathing, in your gentle touch. When you are calm, you're literally lending them your regulated nervous system. You are giving their brain the outside input it desperately needs to believe that it's safe to power down, to let go, and to finally rest.
So what does being the regulator actually look like in real life? Well, it looks like creating predictable, calming bedtime routines that send those its safe signals to the brain over and over again. It means being that steady, calm presence during a sleep terror. Even if they don't seem to notice you, your calm still matters. During the day, it's about making sure their connection cup is full with lots of one-on-one time, which makes them feel more secure at night. And for those really tough, tired, and wired moments, it means using proven tools like Dr. Harvey Karp's 5 S's. That's swaddle, side/stomach position, shushing, swinging, and sucking. These aren't magic tricks. They work because they are specifically designed to flip the switch on a baby's innate calming reflex, helping their nervous system power down from high alert.
So I really want this to sink in. When you're rocking your crying baby, when you're shushing for what feels like hours, you are not failing. You are not just trying to make an annoying noise stop. You are performing a critical biological function. You are being the bridge. You are the strong, sturdy bridge that their little nervous system needs to cross from a state of total chaos and stress over to a state of calm and rest. It's invisible work, but it is some of the most important work you will ever do.
So the next time you're jolted awake by that sound, that scream that chills you to the bone, just for a second, take a breath and remind yourself what you are actually witnessing. It is not the sound of terror. It is not a sign that you're doing anything wrong. It is the raw, powerful, and sometimes startling sound of a human mind being built one connection at a time in the quiet darkness of the night. And what on earth could possibly be more amazing than that?